the Rising Tide member that's on Shield. I can't remember her name.
And I just blanked on it too. Sky.
She goes back to her boyfriend, and you find out she's going against Shield, and you're thinking,
yes.
God, they're going to play this out for a whole season. She opens the door. There's Agent May standing right there.
I love that.
I just kind of feel like they're running with the popularity of what's his name that was in Iron Man and the Avengers.
Robert
and
Downey
say, wow,
Jr.?
he was so
Coulson.
Oh, Coulson.
Yeah, that he was so popular that they're like, okay, we can make a TV show out of this guy, and because he was unexpectedly popular.
Well,
and he is fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
I think their big problem right now is they need to kill some characters.
Namely,
they need to kill
predictable and
they need to kill the two scientists because I can't stand them.
Killing characters might start getting my interest.
Okay, I don't think
it's Whedon. He hasn't killed anyone yet. This is a problem.
He didn't, but he didn't kill any. In the TV series, he didn't kill anybody in Serenity, in Firefly. It wasn't until Serenity happened and he knew the show wasn't coming back that he gave it a definitive. There's no resurrecting.
Well,
this
and
kind
they're
of
about
ending.
to do a new season of Firefly in the comics in Dark Horse Comics.
I know, and he's not really in much control of it though. Now, Fitz and Simmons, I'm okay with. I'm not.
I think he's the creative director of it actually, because he's the creative director of. That's not necessarily his title, but he's the guy who says these are the events I want to happen this season with the Buffy and Angel comics right now, and I'm pretty sure because Buffy and Angel's Dark Horse 2, when they had their writers summit for Buffy season 10, they also discussed Firefly and Serenity, so he will have some presence in those. He probably won't write them, but he probably will dictate a lot of the events.
That would be interesting. Okay, here's what what I'm figuring on is that Whedon is setting the arc for this. He's not got total control of the series, but he is the executive producer, and his brother and his brother's wife are more directly in charge of it, just like they were with Dollhouse, and they were working with him on Firefly. It's running the same kind of course with a lot of the same people. I expect it will continue to get better. I've liked it, but I also knew what it was going to be. I expected it to be exactly what we've gotten so far. It's ratcheted up, just like that last episode. They actually gave us a guy that had mutant powers that S.H.I.E.L.D. was trying to get him to be less of a douche. But
rumor has it that was actually supposed to be Sunfire, but since they didn't want to mess with figuring out the rights for doing X-Men on TV, they named him Scorch, who's an Iron Man villain, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Actually, there are two Scorches. One of them's an Iron Man villain, and the other I'm not familiar with.
I'm glad they didn't go that way, because that guy wasn't a good enough actor for me to really want that to be Sunfire.
Sunfire's a giant prick, and that guy was nowhere near as big.
Sunfire is a huge douche, but I need a better actor to be a douche than that guy was, because that guy basically just read dickish lines and was just kind of standing there.
That's the other problem with the show, is they don't necessarily have a ton of good actors. Like, I think Coulson and Agent May, those are probably the two most interesting characters on the show for me.
Ming-Na Wen kills me. She was born in 1963. That woman is 7 years older than me.
No shit.
And
she's Agent May, I take it?
Yes.
Wow.
Melinda May is like 50. I'm like, oh my God, she's
lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit. Bravo. Because I really like her, and I've seen her in other stuff, and I always liked her because she has a kind of, you know what, shut up kind of
So
demeanor.
here's the rumor I've been hearing, is that when Thor 2 comes out next week, and possibly the episode after that, might be happening concurrently with that story.
They have been working some of that up like that. I mean, hell, we got Nick Fury turned up at the end of one of the episodes.
I enjoy that.
This is a good plane, a damn good plane. He even had a wet bar. Got mad about that. You're all going to fix up. You're going to put something stupid in there like a fish tank. Going, kill the fish tank. Loved that. I look at it this way. Fitz and Simmons are probably the weakest parts of it, but they're necessary for the whole team idea. You could kill them, but I'd rather they not. Chloe Bennett plays Sky. I like her, and I like what they've sort of been doing with her, but they better flesh out where this is headed soon, because she needs to either ditch the Rising Tide and then have to play basically, home turf offensive against them, or more like actually not offensive, but home turf defensive against Rising Tide, trying to hit them more. But they're not giving her really much that identifies her as actually being that good a hacker, but whatever. Grant Ward. I like him. He's the guy that's her superior officer.
I go back and forth on him. The first episode, I couldn't stand him.
That's the idea.
Later episodes,
you're supposed to not like him.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the character. I just thought he was a weak actor, honestly. Later episodes, he's grown on me a little bit.
Well, this is just like when I went back and watched Firefly, and any of the characters that actually weren't already kind of established because they were just part of the natural dynamic of the actors. Wash, for example, he was a lot of his own dynamic. Yeah. He said, "No way, Ming Na Wen was born in '63." Yeah, I know.
I feel weird now. Yeah,
I don't.
That's what I'm
I can't feel weird about that because one, she's still damn pretty. She's still very good with the physical action shots, and I don't understand how she can be 50 and still do that.
Just let the relationship be physical, and after a few years, it goes by. It's okay.
Oh God,
that's horrible. I didn't say that.
Don't listen to anything he says.
Fuck, I have nothing in this class.
You said something horrible. Take a shot.
Time for shots.
It's the new shots game. John says something insensitive. He takes a shot.
Every time we say something insensitive,
John takes a shot.
I need coke in this.
It's not my problem. Yeah. Oh, now he needs another shot.
That hurt me. Actually,
I was thinking about that earlier when I went off to blow my nose.
I know.
It came up like.
Because, yeah, sure, he was blowing his nose.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You missed a bit.
So, it's also, like, I think one of the show's problems is, like, a large part of the reason I watch it is for tie-ins. And the other part is I really want, like, someone to be super powered in the main cast. And they evidently don't have the effects budget for being a show that's been approved for one season. The show looks cheap as fuck.
They've gotten approval for a second season now.
Really?
Yeah, they commented, who was it? Clark Gregg made, it was either Clark Gregg or it was actually possibly Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Twitter.
Enough to get it. A second
It's
season.
managed,
Had to be.
it's bumped the needle just enough that they got, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. They got the fulfillment to do all of season 1.
Yeah.
They'd only shot half of season 1, and that was all they were getting. And they got the green light to finish season 1, which means that now we'll get the rest of the story arc, which also is probably another one of those things about kind of the way they did it.
I really do
want
it to be good.
Here's the thing. Joss Whedon said that there is a later episode that he read the script for, and they're going to do. I don't know if it was in the original first half they shot or if it's going to be in the follow-on half, but he said that there is an episode that he said absolutely broke his heart to do with one of the characters, and I'm pretty sure his comment was an allusion to Coulson. And I'm hoping like hell. You kind of have to watch the series in order to get some of the stuff they've been doing actually with Coulson, because they've been developing his character more. Because they ran him into some old colleagues that used to work with him, and they don't get what happened to him. He's different. And because I've had some people go, he's not like the Coulson in like the movies, and he's not like in that one-off thing they did about a funny thing happened to me on the way to Thor's hammer. And turns out that's by design. He's not on purpose. And this one agent that he was dealing with, this one agent, she's leaving and going. She's going on about, he's seen some stuff. Yes, but what did they do to him? And Melinda May is like, wait, what? And there's kind of this conversation dies off. He's not the same Coulson everyone knows. And being that he got run through with that giant fucking scepter, there's all, even Clark Gregg said at Comic-Con last year.
Post Avengers?
Yes.
Okay. See, I didn't even realize
it's post Avengers, and the thing is that Clark Gregg said last Comic-Con, last year I think it was, or was it this year Comic-Con? He went, "Haven't you ever heard of oh God, I just forgot the term. Life duplicate.
Life model decoy.
Thank you. Life model decoy. He mentions it by terminology. And so there's a consideration that this isn't the real Coulson, that the real Coulson is dead or something. And what I'm hoping happens is that Coulson, the real Coulson, is technically dead, but they're keeping him alive on life support so they can try and get more data out of him to run life model decoys of him instead and put him back into the field. But it's not worked out right, and that's why he's a little too happy joy about things. I don't know if that's what it's gonna be, but Whedon says
honestly,
it's a
I
tearjerker.
hope that he's not a life model decoy, just because that's one of the things that everyone's guessing. I don't want him to be life model decoy. I don't want him to be Vision. I want it to be
I don't
something.
want Vision, damn sure.
I want my mind to be blown.
I maybe.
That
Honestly,
will be difficult.
Honestly, the way I look at it is that in order to do this, in order to keep the fans going, I think that you're going to have to give them something that even they saw coming, but give it to us in a big way. For example, what if Agent Coulson here, assuming that he's a life model decoy, actually does run down to some SHIELD installation and discovers his real self all fucked up in ICU on life support? You have a complete existential crisis, and he may have trouble leading the team. He's already had an existential crisis leading a team once.
I'd be all right with him becoming a villain.
That would be weird.
I don't. What do you think about the lady? Well, okay. Actually, first, as far as villains go, I don't know. Are you guys familiar with Graviton?
No.
Not a lot. Somewhat, and I went, meh.
Graviton is extremely powerful. Graviton is something that the combined Avengers would have a hard time dealing with. It kind of blows my mind that he's evidently going to be a villain for the show. They made him. The doctor who got sucked into the gravity thing?
That's right.
That's Graviton.
You're right. Because they even mentioned it briefly in the reference to the device.
Yep. They
I fucking...
at the end of the episode, they show a hand come out.
Yeah.
He is one of the most powerful supervillains in the Marvel universe.
So basically what this is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could also be the launch platform for all the hubris-born villains that Marvel has in the universe. How many things has S.H.I.E.L.D. done that they ended up causing, a villain to emerge from?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a very good point.
Hello, commentary on American government.
No shit.
What did you put in this? I just realized something was here. Did you just pour your drink into mine?
A little bit.
Okay.
You said insensitive things. You have to take a shot.
Yes. You want
that?
to drink.
There's no.
So there's a bit there.
There's
some. No Coke in that.
I watched him pour some in, but that Coke probably already had some Seagrams in it to begin with. Should we take a break and go get you more Coke?
No. We're almost. We can take a break in a minute. But first, we don't want to disrupt the continuum. Because the continuum is what I've been watching, and it is one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen.
Would you stop it? Because I'm a little bit jealous. I've got nothing to go on there.
So Continuum has everything I love in sci-fi. It has a prediction of the future with all our failures of today. It has time travel. It has a strong female protagonist.
Must see this.
It has really fascinating villains, and it flip-flops what you're used to seeing as good and bad. The first season of Continuum is good.
This is the Canadian show you were telling me about earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a Canadian sci-fi.
Must see this.
The first season's good. The second season's amazing. The basis of the show is that
third season is where it will all fall apart.
Probably, because now they're
unfortunate.
They're at a point in the story.
Wait, is J.J. Abrams involved?
No.
Oh, okay.
But they are at a point
okay.
where they have to explain their time travel mechanic once and for all, which they haven't done yet.
That's where it's gonna go bad. Yeah.
And it's gonna fall apart there.
Because that's part of my problem with a lot of Hollywood movies is the need to explain the science or the evil, and once they try to do that, especially in horror movies, once they explain the horror, it completely ruins the horror.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. So this movie, sorry, I'm trying to determine if we have any actual emails for the podcast while we're doing this.
If we have any.
Why didn't you do that earlier when you didn't have something to discuss?
Because I'm drunk. But
well, that works.
Well, then obviously it's a good thing I gave you more to drink.
So the basis of the show, it starts out in the future. You have a female cop who is employed by corporations. Corporations run the world. There is no government. People actually sit around the table drinking and mockingly talk about how governments ruined everything and the corporations saved everything. And
as I mentioned to him earlier, that in futures studies, it is one of the possible accepted futures that cultural identity will be equated to corporations more than country, which is fascinating and exactly that's probably the reaction most people have.
I know, because I'm sitting there thinking that, The United,
Same reaction
the
he
United,
had,
the United
yeah.
States of Google.
Yeah, so people would identify themselves with Google, Microsoft,
And people already
rather
get.
than America.
I was gonna say people already get
Germany,
mad.
Czechoslovakia.
It's so weird
And-
too because how many Microsoft fans get butthurt because